Hi everyone. Today I'm here with Andu Morie, who I had the privilege to work with a few years ago. Andu, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Andu Morie. Currently, I am a specialist in our AI products, Agentic included, and I work in the Northern Europe region.
Nice. Thank you. I have a few questions for you, and we're going to start with vibe coding. It's
All
a
right.
popular term, a buzzword. Many people try to do something, including enterprise automation, just vibe coding it.
Sure.
What do you think about that? How far realistically non-technical users can get?
So vibe coding, I would say, is an emerging topic for sure, right? We are heavily investing into vibe coding, into coding agents in general, I should say, in UiPath. Just recently, we have released integrations with Claude Code or Codex from GPT or Copilot or what have you, and these integrations have been built directly into the development environment in UiPath. For example, Claude can help you design workflows, low-code ones, pro-code ones as well. We have coding agents building apps, we have coding agents building agents. So we are heavily investing into this topic, I would say, and it's going to be a big thing coming in the next years. Now, to come to your question, it definitely helps out non-technical people to, for example, automate their day-to-day tasks. You know, it helps a lot in personal productivity. But when it comes to bigger enterprise solutions, I don't think that vibe coding solutions are quite there yet. We're getting there. We're not there at the moment. So I would say that you still kind of need someone with some technical expertise, someone like a solution architect to envision the overall solution if we're talking about a big enterprise production-ready solution. Otherwise, for personal productivity, for personal automations, they are very much there and they are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it's close to the citizen developer concept that UiPath has had for years, actually,
Absolutely.
right? When we are enabling non-technical users to create some simple automations for them. And then if they need to scale them, they would go to professional automation developers and just make sure that there is governance, there is security and all that at scale.
Absolutely.
In terms of the output of the coding agents, how do you make sure that you have version control, that the code quality is good and so on?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. Since these vibe coding tools produce code, which is kind of deterministic in its nature, there's no gap to bridge because the output is code. So we can still use the same version control tools that we've been using for decades now, right? I'm thinking about Git, I'm thinking about TFS, SVN, what have you. All of these different methods of version control for code, they still very much apply to vibe coded solutions as well because, again, the output is code at the end of the day.
And I guess that's where you would need some advisory from a professional automation developer, citizen developers for vibe coding to make sure that everything is in control.
Sure, yeah. I think you really nailed the concept there. Going from citizen developer to production-ready enterprise process, yes, there still is some technical expertise required, but otherwise, yeah, vibe coding is definitely the future.
And it's an exciting future for sure. What about some processes that are more ad hoc? Any capabilities that would help with those use cases where ad hoc decisions need to be made? Do agents help with that? How does that work?
So as you know, Sophia, we've invested heavily into orchestration nowadays at UiPath. Maestro is a big rock for us. It's a huge product. Now, Maestro is great for those processes that are well established. They have a structure to them. They are well defined. You know at every point in the process where it should go next, right? What is the next step? Maestro solves that. When we go to these ad hoc processes that you talk about, I can think about, for example, a process around insurance claims where you may have, God forbid, an accident with your house, maybe a fire started. And the process looks something like you file an insurance claim and then it needs to be evaluated. The damages need to be evaluated. The bank gets involved and so on and so forth. So you get to a point in that process and maybe something happens, maybe some further damages are discovered apart from that initial assessment. So then it becomes a bit ad hoc. The process kind of has to move back to step one, back to reevaluating the damages overall. So that is where case management comes into play. Case management is a new product. It's built on top of UiPath Maestro, and it handles these more ad hoc cases with the agent-driven feature. Essentially, we have an agent in the mix governing the whole process, and that agent is in charge of moving a specific transaction from one state to another and handles those ad hoc scenarios.
Basically, agent makes that call what to do next.
The agent makes the call, yes.
And if it's not confident about the decision, that would trigger human in the loop, right?
Yeah.
Humans can review it.
Yeah, human in the loop has been a reoccurring concept in UiPath for years now. We started with our IDP solutions and branched out into some other products as well. Agents, for example, use escalations to ask humans for directions. That is a human in the loop concept as well. Absolutely.
Thank you, Andu. And moving on to the next questions. What do you think, where do coding agents fit within the UiPath platform? Do they replace Studio, Agent Builder? How does that work?
I would say they're there to augment the way we are doing our work. For those maybe non-tech savvy people, we have the low-code approach, which is still very much there. And then for the more seasoned developers, the guys who prefer pro code, we got them covered as well through coding agents. So we're trying to cater to all approaches, essentially.
What do you think is a realistic example of agents handling an end-to-end automation? And where should it hand it over to a human and then get back to processing? Because as a robot, that's a well-established concept and a well-established technology at this point. Agentic stuff is new, so where is that human-in-the-loop component in agentic automation versus RPA? And is it different? And if yes, how is it different?
I would say it's very different. The concept is pretty much the same. Essentially, human-in-the-loop as a concept means you involve a human in the decision-making process. Now, whether that is triggered by a robot or an agent, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. When we're talking about agentic, we're not saying that agents will replace people. We very much envision a future where we're working together. So we're talking about agents, we're talking about robots, and we're talking about people all working together for a common goal. The idea with agents is that they can replace some decision-making that is done by humans. Robots are there, they're proven technology, they follow precisely the steps they've been programmed to. And the people are there to lead the digital workforce of agents and robots.
And what do you think are some of the boundaries where human-in-the-loop is absolutely needed, it's required?
That's not an easy question to answer. I would say it really depends on the business process and how sensitive it is. It's a business decision on when do you want to involve that human in the loop. You will definitely want to involve it for those sensitive processes where you can't afford to make any sort of mistakes. I'm thinking in regulated industries, public institutions where you're dealing with sensitive data. I would say those are the major cases where human in the loop should be very much present.
And just as you were speaking, I thought of even some guardrails on the sum of the payment, for example. If it's, I don't know, a coffee shop, whatever, and they just have some payments to make to their vendors. If it's a payment, let's say over 50K, it should be approved by a human, just to make sure that have those guardrails to work with, even with fraud, right? That would be also a good use case for using agents and human in the loop just to verify that this is okay to go if the risk for the company is too big to keep it totally autonomous.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you again hit the nail on the head there. The decision whether to involve a human or not comes down to how much do those mistakes cost you if they are made.
Yeah, it's about costs and risks, essentially.
It is, yes.
And my last question is, let's say 5-10 years from now, how do you think agentic automation will develop? Do you think we will have a few agents that are more generic but more powerful, or do you think there will be thousands specialized agents working on different business processes?
That is something that is hard to predict at the moment, right? I mean, we are in 2026 right now. Think of 5 years ago, right?
No one could imagine what's happening right now, right?
Exactly. No one could have predicted the rapid rise of AI, of generative AI specifically. We've had AI for decades in the form of machine learning. I'm not talking about that. We're all talking about generative AI here. So yeah, 5 years ago, generative AI was not a thing. GPT became popular, the public, I would say in 2022, 2023, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's extremely hard to predict what the future would look like 5 years from now. If I were to speculate, to answer your question, I would say we would have a combination of both. I see being great in specialized cases where you kind of narrow the context that they receive and the job that they need to perform, make them more specialized in that sense. But then I don't see kind of generalistic digital assistant agents going away either. I'm thinking here of perhaps Autopilot or ChatGPT or Claude or whatnot, specifically the chat-based versions of them. So it would be a combination of both. Now, to what ratio this mix would be in 5 years from now, it's incredibly hard to tell.
Yeah, we'll see what the future brings.
We're living the future, I think.
For sure. Thank you so much, Andu. It was nice having
Thank you
this
as well.
conversation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.